All right, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom. Welcome, 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 everyone. We are back. We are live. Our topic tonight: the strategy of chaos.
Mhm.
The strategy of chaos. We got Doc's president, who was accordingly damn near shot again while they're at the national uh, press thing for the meeting where they make fun of people. And we'll look at a little video of that and see what's what. But Doc, why is everybody trying to kill your dude, man?
Look, you the one that was the Trump supporter. I wish we had that tape clip because you was so against Kamala that it was amazing. It was so amazing. It was memorable. I was like, oh no. He was like, yo, he didn't. Trump didn't even get the nation to support him now. Um, there's a part of me that doesn't believe that any of that really even happened.
Mm,
Oh, and there's because here we have a situation where he's not going to go to the correspondents dinner. He's
right,
never been to one. The last one that I believe he went to was the one where Obama roasted his ass.
exactly.
And so
Mhm.
now you all of a sudden 2 weeks ago you decided you're going to do it. Now we know good and well that usually, and I can just go with usually, it takes weeks, if not months, if not a year, for a president to show up for something. Secret Service, security, they're supposed to go through it. Now, this Keystone Cop administration, maybe they don't do that. Maybe they just decide, I feel like going to so and so. Let's go there.
Mhm.
Can you give me a seat ringside at the cage match? Maybe that's how they handle things within his administration. But I have serious and significant doubts as to if what we're seeing actually occurred. And
Mm,
that's a weird way to kind of say it.
mm.
It's very difficult for me to believe that a black man was able to get through security with a shotgun. That's almost impossible to occur.
Mhm.
It's very convenient, very timely in regards to keeping the chaos going.
Mhm.
Because when's the last time we've had a significant, serious conversation about the Epstein files?
Mhm.
I think it's just going to be diversionary tactic after diversionary tactic. But unfortunately for the Republicans, that these diversionary tactics are aimed at saving him and him alone. He's going to sink the party he's already sinking the party while he's trying to save himself.
Mm. Now, Doc, I know you don't believe in no conspiracy theory. And it
Exactly. I
sort of
don't
sounds
exactly
like you're
exactly
talking about
exactly.
a
I
conspiracy
don't
theory
I
now.
don't I don't believe in a conspiracy theory at all. And that's just kind of what it is. I don't. And because I don't believe in this foolishness. This isn't a conspiracy theory. What this is this fool really trying to hoodwink people. That's totally different from a conspiracy theory. Totally different.
Now, before he was elected the second time, they shot him in Pennsylvania. Supposedly, there's new evidence coming out saying that that was orchestrated and that he did a WWF. When the wrestlers get hit in the head with the chair and they
I
hit the
mean,
ground and
it
come
it
back
it
up and
it,
blood and
it
everything.
reminded me of Tommy Wildfire Rich when I saw it. Okay, I was like, oh no, we back to the WW, whatever it was called then, the WWE or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't buy it then, and I don't buy it now. And the thing is that with the financial suffering that people are going through right now, and I'm talking about
Mhm.
all people, how much would it how much would it take for you to kind of be the fall guy until things actually cooled off? What
Mhm.
amount of money is that? Is it 500,000? Is it 1 million? Because this wouldn't even be a sophisticated. ruse. This is a relatively simple one of what you're going to allow to occur, and we're going to take you down, and this, and that, no, 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 no. And the idea of someone shooting from that far away and missing you, but they graze you. Come on now. Come on. Come on. It's not beyond the pale of possibility for you to be able to say definitively, yeah, they orchestrated this, and they're able to, especially when you begin to talk about, Assata Shakur said this in her book Assata. Assata said, "I do not allow people to take my picture because they got the technology," and she's talking about the early 1970s. They had the technology to take your picture, your image, and put it on another body, and that was not something that we thought was possible at that time. But she talks about it being possible. I believe that the U.S. military is most likely a century ahead of us in technology. So what we're seeing in 2026, okay, is stuff that was probably developed about 1926. They're just releasing some of it and letting that out now. So you can't tell me that it is even difficult to have a situation where you can hit a button, flip a switch, something, and you can have something explode on someone's head or their ear that won't cause damage, but will look like the real thing has just occurred. That's just, come on, that's makeup. I mean, I've seen John Wick. I know Common can't fight. I know all of that was smoke and mirrors that we had going on at that time. This isn't even, it's not even in the realm of remotely impossible. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, man.
Doc, looking at this picture, it is just, you got the flag in the background, you got the blood going down his face, and
fight. I'm telling you, I saw Dusty Rhodes do the exact same thing back in '81 in Mansfield, Ohio, at the VFW Hall. I was in attendance. Okay. I remember I was 11 years old, and I'm going to tell you why I remember that meeting so much. Okay. Because after that happened, we saw Ric Flair and Tommy Wildfire Rich at a Domino's Pizza. They was picking up a pizza, and they were on their way to, I think they told us they were on their way to Cleveland. This is back when they was on TBS. Okay, it wasn't no arenas then. It was VFW halls. And I also remember that night so well because that's the night that I met Dusty Rhodes. Okay, I went to pick up to buy a program, and my Uncle Jerry's girlfriend Manya, who was a big wrestling fan, and she was the only one in the family that liked wrestling like I did. So me and her sister would go to all the wrestling matches when they were close, right? I'm buying this program, and she said, "Look at who's selling it." And I looked up, and it was Dusty Rhodes selling them.
Wow.
With no security, wasn't nothing. Okay. Wow. But that is a picture perfect white supremacist image right there. That's an image that is Hollywood worthy. It will last forever. People have that on their wall right now.
Exactly.
Okay, I just hope that they were able to, because is that the chick that's got her arms around him? Is that the one that couldn't get her gun back in the holster?
Exactly.
So you're trying to tell me that she's an actor?
It sure is.
She cost the Secret Service so much funding.
Mm-hmm.
American people wondering what they're paying for.
And Time magazine it made the cover of Time magazine. It's so explosive, and so this
It was explosive, all right. It exploded right on his ear.
The ideal of America being invincible. We can take a shot and keep on ticking.
Keep on ticking.
You can't be destroyed. And this is the kind of thing that raised his poll numbers up.
Yes.
Dramatically.
Yes.
Dramatically. And I didn't even think he needed the boost, but they did it. They did it. Do you think that there was another motive behind why this was? Because he was clearly winning. Do you think that they really thought he was going to lose?
I think that you have to define who the they is.
Mm-hmm.
And if the they is this fool, he can convince himself of anything. He convinced himself that he won when he lost. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he has individually convinced himself that he's losing, even when he's up in the polls. All it would take for such an insecure person is to even hear rumor that you're losing. Stranger things have happened.
Wow, this is really, really amazing.
I mean, it's a new frontier for American politics at the national level to have a blatant, unabashed white supremacist and a group of white supremacists and bigots and dim-witted individuals. That's not the first time we've had them in the White House, but it's the first time that we've had such phenomenal coverage of them, where everything that is said, everything that occurs is documented, and you can actually see it. I mean, the idea of sending your son-in-law to negotiate a peace deal with Iran, that's I love my sons, but I would not trust them to go on a fast food run for me if I was getting more than a couple items. So I know I can't send them over to Iran and try to have a conversation.
Exactly.
The reality is that he believed that America was invincible, and whatever he did, eventually we're going to come out on top. It's almost unfathomable that no one in his circle, no one during the quote unquote war games that they do, came up with the idea that Iran is going to close the Strait of Hormuz. That's the first thing they're going to do. So what should be your response after you do that? When you just said, well, what we're going to do, we're going to send some F-15s over there and some Marines. That's not really a plan.
No.
And the goals, the goals as far as what are we trying to achieve? It's obvious that they didn't have any goals when they decided to do this. And it reminds me of George W. Bush when they asked him why he went to war. He said, because they tried to kill my daddy.
Exactly.
And then he talked about weapons of mass destruction. Okay. We think that these are super intellectuals because of the position that they're in, the power that they have at their hands. Nothing could be further from the truth. These are maybe not even regular average intelligence people. And I'm not a weed smoker. I ain't never smoked no weed or nothing like that, or I've never even had a drink of alcohol. But I've been in rooms where I've sat down and I've listened to brothers who was high, and they come up with some of the strangest, illogical things that one could ever imagine.
Mhm.
That is what I venture to guess happened between Trump and Netanyahu.
Mhm.
The Netanyahu threw out, you know what we ought to do, man? We ought to just bomb Iran.
Mhm.
And to his amazement, this fool looked up and said, "Sounds good to me." And that was the extent of the planning.
Mhm.
And the most unfortunate thing for me is quite simply that it has already occurred and will continue to occur, that there are some parents whose child ain't coming home.
Exactly.
These are men's lives that you're dealing with. These are the fathers of children who are going to grow up without their biological father now.
Mhm. Exactly.
You should have more, and I don't even know why I'm saying this in this context with this individual, but you should have more humanity inside of you than to do something like this. But they
Mhm.
don't. They don't. And there's a, you know how we talk about the stages of grief.
Right.
There's a stage of unbelievability
Mhm.
where what you're seeing is so outrageous and so egregious that that can't be all to it.
Right.
And truth of the matter is that's all that there is to that. So
Mhm.
the idea of causing chaos amongst people, because most people have, and I believe this. I believe that most people have ADHD,
Mhm.
and they're easily distracted. They need to be titillated. They want to go on to the next exciting thing. They never exhaust anything. And so all you have to do to grab their attention, especially within a society where there used to be this thing on the news where they said world news in 2 minutes.
Mhm.
Now we're at the point where people are getting their news within 5 seconds.
Exactly.
Their attention span has been it's going through atrophy. It's those they don't have that anymore. And so that makes a diversion so much easier. And
Mhm.
then you have the majority of an American population that their their attempt to pierce an argument, to deal with something that is in many ways a very substantive thing, is the equivalent of, "I know you are, but what am I?" You say something to somebody and they're saying the political equivalent of, "I know you are, but what am I?"
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, what about Biden? What about
Mm.
Biden? When this we ain't talking about Joe Biden right now. But what
Right.
about Biden when Biden did such as a, "I know you are, but what am I?"
Mhm.
And nothing
Mhm.
nothing is ever dealt with seriously. And one could argue that it's a after effect, a side effect of situations where people have become emotionally invested
Mhm.
in their side. And I'll be damned. I will let it burn down before I give you the satisfaction of hearing that you were correct.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. You know, Doc, when I saw this, I'm sitting here, and the first thing, to honest to God, the first thing that came to my mind was the emperor has no clothes.
Yes.
That was the first thing that came to my mind. The emperor has no clothes.
Hmm.
You know, it is really just amazing. It's like Tulsi Gabbard, before she got hired on, she was like, Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. You know, they're not even in the market to looking for them. That's not what they want. And Trump was saying that, yeah, they is. And, the interviewer said, well, Tulsi Gabbard, your national security person, said that, they're not having nuclear weapons. They don't have it and they're not interested. I don't give a damn what she said. I said, this is what they got,
Yeah.
and so people was expecting her to come out there and go against what her boss said. And she went out there and said exactly what her boss said. It's like their integrity is for sale.
So you see, the one girl got pregnant, and we ain't gonna see her no more. They say they didn't gave her the Family Matters treatment. That little black girl went up them stairs on Family Matters. We never saw her again.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's ridiculous, but it's so dangerous that you can't ignore it, because regardless of what we want to feel and what we want to think, if you go abroad right now, just like if you go abroad during times of peace, you are readily and almost immediately identified as an American.
Exactly.
So this is your leader. And because he's your leader, people around the globe are going to say, well, you guys got Trump. And you're like, look at me, I'm black. Do you think that I'm rolling with him? But that's your leader.
That's right. We have people that live in India, came from India, came from China, came from Vietnam, and all these different places that work at the pharmacy. And, and I asked them, when y'all go home, do they call y'all Americans or do they see y'all as one of them? And they're like, no, they see us as Americans now. Yeah. We're not one of them any longer. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's deep. I said, so do you feel like you're one of them or do you feel like you're an American? And even they say, I feel like I'm an American now.
Yeah.
Totally shocked. Like, really? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. This country does something to you psychologically. Mm-hmm. And it kind of puts you in the mindset of you can never go back.
Mm.
How do you get acclimated to being in I would often travel to Ghana. I don't think I'm ever going back, but I would travel to Ghana frequently, like once a year. My students, their first time going, when they first get there, they're amazed at all of the different things. Everything is new and this is that, this and that.
Right.
By about day 3, look at here. This ain't right over here. What you mean it ain't right? Oh, every 4 hours, you got a power outage, a rolling blackout. It's normal for them. But for us, we're like, wait a minute, hold on, y'all can't even keep the lights on?
Right.
No, when you leave your hotel room, this was one that really got me. You had your own personalized water heater. And it was maybe about 4 gallons of water in this little unit. Now, of course, when we going out, what do we do with the water heater? We leave it heating up water.
Right.
But the people in that hotel will come in your room and turn it off. So now you go back and now you got to wait 4 hours for your water to heat up.
Damn.
The modern conveniences of being an American are amazing. And the thing is that we not only believe that we're the center of Earth, we believe that we're the center of the universe and all other galaxies. It's just what it is. And there's an arrogance that we carry with us, an expectation, because you lived a different life. It's the reason why when you see people come here from foreign countries, like first, and I would extend it to second generation. They out there hustling because they feel that they got to get it so that they can survive, because they have in their mind the memory of the old country that they just left a year or two ago.
Right.
Whereas our people, if you were to deny our people food and say, no, you're going to have to go work for it, Americans would be like, shit, I bet I don't. It ain't all that. Ain't going. I bet I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about the level of entitlement that people have. That they're supposed to feed you because you exist in this nation. I'm an American. We're an entitled people, and the truth of the matter is about Donald Trump in regards to where the nation is, and I believe that this is always true. I believe that we get the president that we deserve, that reflects us as a people. So if you're filled with ignorance, hate, discord, that's who you're going to ironically end up electing. Someone who reflects those values. So the fact that he was able to get in by talking so negatively about people, because keep in mind, he's a master at giving you a nickname. Oh, Sleepy Joe. Who did he say had low energy? You remember those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you remember those things, and it's just what it is. He is the modern day Ronald Reagan. And that's what everyone said about Reagan. They said Ronald Reagan is an extremely dangerous guy because he has Hollywood acting training, and he's able to stand up in front of people and smoothly put it on you. Okay. Smoothly. Look at you very confidently. Now, what we're talking about is trickle down economics.
Right.
And people say, oh, you know what? That do sound like that makes some sense. Because he delivered it so well. Versus a stumbling, bumbling, person. Well, I think we ought to. And people immediately, oh, no, I know that guy there. I don't, no. The American people are the equivalent of the fickle horde of Rome.
But Doc, so you're blaming the American people for Trump?
Yes.
But everybody didn't vote for him.
Say that again?
Everybody didn't vote for Trump, so how can they be blamed when they didn't vote for him?
No. I'm not saying that all Americans are guilty because Trump is president. What I am saying is that the values that a Trump would represent are reflected of the mass of people who voted for him.
Wow. This ego of American exceptionalism tied with your friends over there in Israel who
ain't my friends.
They can wag the dog, they the tail, but they controlling the big dog. And, and so the people pay the price for it. And this thing with them going out there jumping on Iran the way that they did is just really, it shows the height of their arrogance to think and expect that we'll get away with it. Shit, we've been bombing them before and they really ain't did shit else about it. So fuck it, let's just bomb them some more. It's crazy. But as I'm at work a lot of times, Doc, and I'm walking from one wing to the next, and I'm thinking like, damn, if a bomb dropped on us, we would be screwed up.
Oh, without a doubt.
we would be screwed because people wouldn't know how to act. They wouldn't know how to live. They don't know what to do.
As a pharmacist, you would know better than most people how many people are on some type of psychological drug,
Oh yeah.
dealing with whatever they've been through.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine, project even, no scientific study, anything like that, the percentage of Americans who would be on something as a result of bombs being dropped?
Mm. Mm-mm.
You know, I love watching ghost stories. It's a diversion for me. Okay. And these white folk, boy, they have a hard time going to sleep when there's a ghost in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Lord only knows what type of difficulty they would have falling asleep if their neighbor's whole house exploded.
Exactly.
You go out there
Exactly.
and your neighbor's head is sitting in your flower pot.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Oh yes. Because
We,
it
we
it's
we've always had the privilege as a nation since Napoleon withdrew, since and really the British didn't leave; they went to Canada.
mm-hmm.
But we've always had quote unquote natural borders, the Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean. It's the
Mm-hmm.
reason why the Cuban Missile Crisis was such a big thing. It's the first time in the
Right.
history of this nation that someone would have had missiles where they would been able to reach us.
Mm-hmm.
So we really cannot fathom what it's like for those people to live that way.
No.
To think that when your beloved child, went off to kindergarten, you wouldn't see him again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That there's a good chance you won't see him again.
Very good chance. Very good chance. When my cousin died over there in Jordan when they first got attacked. The American soldiers over there in Jordan. My cousin was one of them,
Mhm.
and he died. And it's like, damn, he didn't even have a chance to defend himself.
Yeah.
They killed him while he was sleeping.
Hmm.
You know, and you hear the talk. Oh, they'll go down in history fighting for the greatest country on the earth. Get the fuck out of here, please, please. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. But it's a hard thing. It's a hard reality.
Yes.
It really is. It's a hard reality. I feel sorry for those families who have children that's over there that will lose their lives, will be injured, those who return home will never be the same like they
Yeah.
were before they left.
Yeah. I mean, and you can hear when someone's not afraid of you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
when they say to you, we just waiting on y'all to come. If that's their negotiation tactic, well, we just waiting on y'all to come. There ain't no need for no more meetings.
Nope.
Keep JD Vance and Jared over there where they at. We're just
Mm-hmm.
waiting on y'all to come. We've been waiting, and
Mm-hmm.
this was the thing that made me say, oh, when one of their leaders said, "We've been waiting for centuries."
Yes.
See,
Yes.
there's an emotionalism that needs to be there when a person's selling wolf tickets.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't finna do shit. He need a press conference before the fight. Really, what he open one of his boys hear him screaming and hollering, and they come on. No, don't do it to him, killer. Don't do it to him.
Right. Right.
But Richard Pryor told this story about Jim Brown. Richard Pryor said that him and Jim Brown, one of his bodyguards and Jim Brown had some words. They got into it. Richard Pryor said, I didn't hear what was said. He said,
Mm-hmm.
all I saw was a whole bunch of people ran over and they grabbed the bodyguard and they're restraining him. They said, nobody grabbed Jim Brown. So he was just sitting there. He was just sitting at the bar on a stool. And Jim Brown turned and he said, gentlemen, I do believe that if you were to let him go, he'd be better able to express himself.
Mm.
And Richard Pryor said his bodyguard whispered to the people that was holding him, if near one of if y'all take nary a finger off of me, I'm gonna kill you when I see you again. Now scoot me towards the door so I can get up out of here. There's no emotion there. There's no selling wolf tickets. None of that is going on.
Mm-hmm.
We've been waiting on y'all to come. Come,
Mm-hmm.
please come. Please come. Because once you get up in there in them rocks and caves and hills, you thinking that blocking them from getting money from their oil is going to have a real impact? It's not. They're used to living without.
Exactly. Exactly.
We can't function right if Facebook go down. And what we gonna do, man? I was trying to hook up with old girl tonight, man, and the Facebook thing ain't working.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
it's very similar to 1970s, 80s, possibly even 90s boxing.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of knew who was going to win by looking at where they came from.
Mm.
If they was from a third world country, oh, he getting ready to show up to fight.
Mm.
You know, now the regular American white boys, they didn't stand no chance. But you get a brother from the ghetto, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. That's he getting ready to do some damage up in here. And
Mm.
that's kind of who you're dealing with. You're dealing with people who, for all intents and purposes, have never known peace and comfort.
Mm. Now, Doc, what do you think that this does on the national stage where people who, don't like America see America not really winning against Iran? Does that make America more of a target to say, people look at it and say, well, shit, if that's the best you can do, I think I can take your ass on?
I think that the scary thing is that people, someone, a political commentator was talking about this morning. He says that, do you think that Pete Hegseth and company, the Pentagon, really knows how much ammunition they got left?
Mm.
And do you think that they shared that with Trump? And the scariest and most likely part of it is quite simply, do you think he understands what all that means? I can guarantee you that other people are counting.
Mm.
They're saying, because this ain't like going into no bullet factory
Mm-hmm.
and making some bullets. You're talking about Tomahawk missiles,
Mm-hmm.
2 to 3 years to build,
Mm-hmm.
and you shooting them babies off, knocking down $50 drones.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's they are paying attention, and the worst case scenario is you expend so much. It's very similar to, once again, a boxer who comes in, and Pernell Whitaker, Sweet Pea, was brilliant at this, completely defensive, and would let you shoot your shot until you were exhausted.
Mm.
And then once you were exhausted, he went to work on you. America becomes exhausted. Can't defend home. Can't defend abroad. And the scary thing is that when we talk about America, we're talking about it from a collectivist position.
Mm-hmm.
Us.
Right.
When this cast of the characters who are at the head of the nation are thinking about and considering America, they're talking about it in a much different way. How can we capitalize and become individually richer off of what's going on? Was looking at a guy who was talking about stocks that you should invest in, and he had a list of probably about 15 stocks that he believes are going to blow up over the next 2 years. And he said, now, let me tell you why. He said, because these are the stocks, these are the companies that are already certified and equipped to build American bunkers and bases. So everything that's been torn up, they're going to have to rebuild that. These will be the guys that do it. So there's a monetary reason for them to do this. Nationalism, being nationalistic, these, one could argue that they're too rich to be nationalistic. That to be nationalistic means that they would have to, in many ways, go against many of their investments. And they're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to the infamous Michael Jordan comment when they asked him why he wasn't political. Why won't you say anything political, Mike? And he said, well, shit, Republicans buy tennis shoes too. So there's a level of wealth where your loyalty, and I believe that this is really representative of people in general, that there comes a moment where your loyalty is to your money.
Mm-hmm.
How does this impact my bottom line? And if you listen to some of the commentary that people have about this moment, they'll tell you that, yeah, but my 401k is doing great.
Exactly.
Where's the nationalism in that?
Mm-hmm.
We are a nation of individualistic minded people.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Exactly. We're going to watch a quick video of the news take on this shooting, and we'll come back and discuss it.
Attended by President Trump. Now at 11, chaos erupts at the White House Correspondents Dinner, attended by President Trump. This man, armed with guns and knives, storms a hotel hallway and opens fire. And tonight we're learning that suspect is from the South Bay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the News at 11. I'm Rick Jim.
And I'm Corrine Winter. Breaking news from Washington, D.C. President Trump and members of his cabinet rushed from the Correspondents' Dinner banquet hall after a major security incident outside.
Yeah, the 31-year-old suspect, who authorities say opened fire with a shotgun, is now in custody. The president, thankfully, was unharmed. Take a look, though. This was the scene inside that banquet hall when those shots were fired just outside. Secret Service members rushing the stage to whisk the president to safety. Hundreds of journalists ducking for cover under their tables.
We have live team coverage of the attack. Lindsay Pena is standing by in Torrance tonight, where it's believed the suspect lived. But let's begin with Sarah Welch. She's live in the KTLA News Center with the latest breaking details. Sarah.
Corrine, as you said, part of this investigation tonight is focused right here in Southern California, and authorities have identified the shooter as Cole Thomas Allen, a 31-year-old school teacher from Torrance. He was reportedly staying at the hotel where this high-profile dinner was taking place tonight, with close to 1,000 journalists and politicians gathered, including the president.
Unfolding as multiple gunshots rang out at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Secret Service rushing the president, first lady, and members of the cabinet from the stage to a safe location as hundreds of journalists ducked under tables and ran for cover.
Nobody was hurt. He and the first lady, the cabinet, everybody's safe.
Around 8:30 Eastern, video shows a man armed with multiple weapons charging through metal detectors outside the ballroom. Agents quickly tackled the man face down. President Trump spoke from the White House.
He was a guy who looked pretty evil when he was down. You know, they had him down. He was fighting hard. He was, in my opinion, a sick person.
The gunshots erupted as the annual dinner at the Washington Hilton was just getting underway. And this was the first time President Trump had attended as president. He wanted the event to go on, but agreed it should be postponed.
That was supposed to bring together members of both parties with members of the press. And in a certain way it did, because the fact that they just unified. I saw a room that was just totally unified. It was in one way, very beautiful, a very beautiful thing to see.
The gunman never got inside the ballroom. A Secret Service agent was shot in the attack but survived.
He was wearing obviously a very good bulletproof vest. He was shot from very close distance with a very powerful gun. I just spoke to the officer and he's doing great. He's in great shape.
He asked all Americans to recommit to resolving their differences peacefully. President Trump has been the target of multiple assassination attempts and death threats.
The people that do the most, the people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. They don't go after the ones that don't do much because they like it that way.
There were protests taking place outside the hotel, which was open to the public. And some journalists tonight are posting on social. They thought security was lax at the event. Now, the president said prior to this, there were no known credible threats against him. He thanked law enforcement for doing everything right and said this dinner recognizing free speech will be rescheduled within the next 30 days as this investigation continues to unfold. Rick and Karine, back to you.
All right, Sarah Welch, thank you. The shooting suspect arrested outside the Correspondents' Dinner has been identified as a 31-year-old Torrance teacher.
Lindsay Pena is live there in Torrance with more on what we know about the suspect. Lindsay.
Yeah, Rick, Karine, since we saw you last at 10 o'clock, there has been a lot more law enforcement who have shown up in this neighborhood. I'm going to go ahead and step out of the way so you can see exactly what's happening here beyond the police tape. You can see those red and blue lights flashing. Tactical teams now on scene at the residence last linked to that suspect. It's not clear, though, if he was still living here. You can see a lot of activity, and we have video from earlier when FBI investigators arrived on scene. Torrance police also out here. Earlier, members of the media knocked on the door. Unclear who was inside, but someone did open it and quickly slammed it. One man living nearby telling us he was shocked to learn the suspect might be connected to this area. Let's go ahead and take a look at that suspect's picture once again. He's been identified as 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen of Torrance. According to investigators, he stormed the lobby of the D.C. hotel where the White House Correspondents' Dinner was being held tonight, allegedly armed with several guns and knives. Security footage posted by President Trump shows a man running through the metal detectors and past security, who immediately draw their weapons. That man is then swarmed by officers. At this point, investigators say it is unclear who the suspect was targeting, but it appears he was a guest at the hotel. And we're still trying to learn as much as we can about the alleged shooter. According to a Facebook page, Cole Allen was named Teacher of the Month at C2 Education here in Torrance back in 2024. A LinkedIn page for someone named Cole Allen says he attended Caltech and Cal State University Dominguez Hills. The U.S. Attorney and FBI Director talking earlier about the incident and the suspect. Take a listen.
This individual was intent on doing as much harm and as much damage as he could. And thankfully, because of the checkpoint right outside the ballroom, where thousands of people were situated to hear the President of the United States, because that checkpoint worked, there was no one who was injured.
We will be examining this individual's background thoroughly. That process has already started, and we are going to ensure that he was either a lone wolf actor or anyone else that was responsible. We will analyze all evidence immediately to make sure that we safeguard this country.
I'm back out here live. Again, you're looking at the street where this suspect allegedly lived here in Torrance. Tactical teams on scene. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro saying the suspect is being preliminarily charged with 2 charges related to using a firearm and assaulting an officer with a dangerous weapon. But she did say other charges could be filed later. At this point, it's unclear what his motives may have been, and again, who his intended target or targets were. We will continue to stay out here and monitor the situation. And of course, we'll have the latest coming up tomorrow morning on KTLA 5 News. But for now, that is the latest from here in Torrance. Lindsay Pena, KTLA 5 News.
So, Doc, a teacher? A teacher? I don't get that one, though.
All I can say is that I wonder how fast that brother could be with a football. They said that he had a shotgun, a revolver, and a knife on him. He looked awful swift about the feet.
Exactly.
I'll just say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Man, like I said, I don't put anything past these people, and I don't put anything past them.
Mm-mm-mm. Very, 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 very odd. I would not have expected a teacher. I wouldn't even expected a black man at that much.
Yeah, that's what really got me, was that he was black,
Mm-hmm.
and the type of surveillance that black folk are under when they even at Target,
Exactly.
let alone something
Mhm.
like that. No,
Mhm.
I'm not buying it.
No, not at all. And they say that he'd been to a No Kings march. He uh, was in a group that was against President Trump. And then in his quote unquote manifesto that he wrote, it seems like he's not a bad guy.
Yeah, but this would be my question.
Mhm.
When was his hotel reservation made?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because no one knew Trump wasn't scheduled to go there and to participate in that until 2 weeks ago. So you're trying to tell me that somebody on a teacher's salary was able to purchase a ticket, get hotel reservations into the place where they were having the White House Correspondents Dinner?
Mm,
It's improbable,
mm.
especially when you're talking about an educator who's living within the state of California with as high as housing and rent prices are.
Mhm. Exactly.
Okay, let's say that he was able to do that. We know that he didn't get on a plane or didn't
Mhm.
check a shotgun and a revolver and a
Mhm.
handgun. So where to get the guns at? It's a whole lot of moving pieces that need to come together. What did he get with Nino Brown or somebody? And
Mhm.
Nino hooked him up.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's funny because he wrote in his manifesto, he said that there was no damn security, not in transport, not in the hotel, not in the event, bragging that he walked in with multiple weapons without anyone questioning him. Just let him go ahead and go through. Action.
What did they say? Oh, he's black. Let him go. There isn't a black person alive who does not have a "May I help you" story, where some white person has decided that you don't belong where you are right now.
Exactly.
So may I help you?
Exactly.
I had one of those moments, and I was teaching at a community college part time,
Mm.
and I had a rather rotund white girl roll up on me with a "May I help you? Could I please help you? May I help you?"
Mm.
And so I took off running down the hallway because I knew that she wasn't going to run after me.
Right.
And I made it over to the classroom that I taught in, and you needed a key card to open the door. In the faculty, we have our own key cards. So I
Right.
had opened the door and was inside by the time she made it to the corner. And she had nerve enough to start banging on the door.
What?
Mhm. And so I screamed at her and I said, "You're scaring me. Would you please just go away? You're frightening me." So
Wow.
what do you do with those type of people, that type of entitlement? It doesn't ring, right to me. And you're talking about within 2 weeks time,
Exactly.
he came up with this scheme and this plan. I'm gonna run by them when they ain't looking.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Exactly.
And they didn't shoot him.
Exactly. All them shots fired that they shot, and he didn't get shot not once.
It reminds me of was it Training Day,
Mm-hmm.
where one of them had to take a shot?
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, somebody got to get shot to make this look right.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly, man. This stuff is crazy. This is really crazy. And it's happening live, that they would even have the nerve to put this stuff out there. And,
Did you see when they were taking them off the stage?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And your boy fell.
This thing is just sickening. It really is. You know, and looking at, I'm gonna share this screen, we'll go over little bits of his manifesto. This thing, Lord have mercy. So he says that his goal was to target Trump administration officials, prioritized from the highest ranking to the lowest, explicitly framing them as primary targets of the attack. He described himself as a friendly federal assassin. It says he's no longer willing to let a pedophile, a rapist, and traitor coat his hands with that person's crime, clearly referring to Donald Trump without using his name. Now, Trump got mad at Norah O'Donnell for quoting that part of in their little interview.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he really talked to her bad, you know. But what about that part? You know, do you believe that truly he is a pedophile, a rapist, and a traitor?
Yes.
Just because he had association with Epstein, or outside of that?
I'll put it to you like this. I'm not cool with anybody who didn't take care of their children.
Mm-hmm.
People who avoided child support, didn't look out for their kids, I can't do nothing with that. Okay, it doesn't sit right in my soul. And I'll take it a step further. I can't vibe with brothers who I know have sexually assaulted sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they brag about in public about their crimes and what they've done, but they never share enough with you for you to be able to necessarily know who they're talking about or turn them in. They just talk about how they do what it is that they do. That turns my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And so to know that someone is trafficking in women, and especially girls,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have a little bit of that in you for you to be able to get down with them. Period. There's no other way to really deal with that. That birds of a feather flock together. And that's really how I look at that. So do I look at him as those things that are listed? Yes. All three of them. I mean, he's committed to, he's basically said he's guilty of the second one himself.
Mm-hmm.
And really the first one as well, when he had the recordings about him being in the locker room of the, was it Miss Teen USA pageant?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Just going in there because he could. You know, I truly believe that a man's character is measured best by what he does in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And also the understanding that absolute power corrupts absolutely, And if you give people an opportunity to make a choice that has no immediate negative consequences, even if it's a deplorable, immoral decision, if they choose that one, there's something wrong there because they don't stand for anything.
Wow. Wow. This, but what do you think it says about the people, Doc? Because everybody assumed when Grab 'Em by the Coochie came out that he was going down. But he didn't. He didn't. He went up. What does that really say about the people? Because what you talked about, that you wouldn't hang out with certain men, just like me, I wouldn't hang out with them either. But when you have a whole group of people that will hear that, understand that, and say, fuck it, I don't care, he's still my man.
They're addicted to whiteness. And they would rather see a white man who has no moral compass or no credibility be the leader. And this isn't a position that is solely reserved for white people. There's some black people, some brown people, and some red and yellow people who feel this way as well. They believe that the worst white man is better than the best, whatever else you're gonna put in there. They trust white people more. And because they're able to justify the end goal that they want by even ignoring and not dealing with something, it reveals who they are. And it takes you right back to the thing I was saying earlier, the pettiness, the silliness of I know you are, but what am I? There was no convincing of those people at any moment of any debate. They knew which way they were going. And there's an uncivilized nature that you'll find amongst many men and a few women. And when they saw Trump speaking down to Zelensky in the White House, shit, that stoked their fires. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's a president right there. Because that's who they are at their core. That's their understanding of what power is, what it looks like, and what it behaves like.
We're going to watch the clip where he got mad at Nora, but that reminded me, when I watched that and he talked to her so wickedly, it reminded me of Bush, son Bush, when Kanye said that he was a racist. And that pissed Bush off so bad that, he was ready to have a fight over that. What's your thoughts when they're actually called to the carpet with what their behavior looks like? The offense is just so egregious.
Yeah, I don't have a view really of that, because aren't they human? Can't they be called to task, taken to task? Respond to it instead of behaving like you're above reproach.
Well, I definitely believe that that's how they think, that they are above reproach. And who are you to label me with anything? Except a good president. That's what they want to be flowered with all these good words. But, the truth of the matter is that you're a murderer. The truth of the matter is you're a criminal. You're a criminal. That's the truth of the matter.
But if we can use another sports analogy of basketball, is it a foul if they don't call it?
Yeah, if they don't call it, it ain't used against them.
So isn't that the same thing? That if he committed these crimes and he was tried and he was convicted and he didn't go to jail at all, didn't go to prison, was he really convicted? Or is this a show? a show that's going to be adopted and celebrated and touted by his followers. Whose only defense of that is, but what about Hunter Biden's laptop? That ain't what we talking about right now.
Exactly. We're going to watch this other video real quick of him and Norah O'Donnell, and she did a good job standing there taking it. She must knew he was going to come with some insults on her, because he sure did, boy. But she didn't flinch. She did not flinch. Let's see.
On the event itself and the investigation, there was one question he really did not like. Let's get to CNN Chief Media Analyst Brian Stelter for the latest on this. Good morning to you. Long time no see.
Yeah, hey, good morning. Axios put it really well this morning. It said one uncomfortable question was all it took for President Trump to resume hostilities with the media. Here is that exchange with CBS's Norah O'Donnell from last night.
He writes this quote, administration officials, they are targets. And he also wrote this, I'm no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. You should be ashamed of yourself reading that, because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and I
these
was
are
never,
the gunman's words.
Excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace.
I want to tell you two things about that. Number one, this is President Trump as we've always known him. This is not surprising. What was surprising was that on Saturday night, he was calm and respectful. He showed, a different demeanor toward the press corps. People wondered if that was going to last. Now we know it's not going to last. His final post on Truth Social before the dinner was attacking the New York Times, and now he's mad at CBS. I also want to note that CBS is owned by Paramount, which is trying to buy WBD, the parent company of CNN. On Thursday night in Washington, Paramount held a dinner honoring the Trump White House. The president was there. Norah O'Donnell was reportedly there as well. I don't know that for a fact, but it was reported that she was there. So there was this report about schmoozing between CBS and Trump. And yet, on Sunday night, a tough, important, fair interview by CBS of the president, one the president bristled at. Just want viewers to notice that as you read about Paramount trying to take over CNN.
Can you talk about leading up to the dinner, what was going on between Trump and CBS?
It's been a long, tenuous relationship, Audie. CBS's parent company, Paramount, is seeking regulatory approval to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, which is also the parent company to CNN. And leading up to that, a lot of outsiders believe that CBS News and Paramount made certain concessions to be able to ensure that they could be in Trump's good graces to get that regulatory approval. So, for example, they settled for $16 million, a $20 billion lawsuit that legal experts believe they could have won with the president. They canceled Steve Colbert's show, which they said was for financial reasons. And then they hired this woman named Bari Weiss. They acquired her website, The Free Press, and put her in charge of CBS News. And people feel like all of these moves were done to placate the administration. So then for Donald Trump to come out now on live air and bash 60 Minutes, it's a really great example of the fact that you could do everything that you want to try to game the system, to try to develop a strong relationship with the president. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it serves him to continue to call the mainstream media fake news and bash the press.
At the same time, he talked.
So, Doc, listening to this, is that the question comes, I know they said no more King's March, but since the CBS and all these news agencies, they up there, trying to get close to Trump and be nice and be buddy, so that they can get deals done, they can get business done. It sure enough seems like he's rolling like a king to me.
Yeah,
you gotta bow down and kiss the ring in order to get something done.
If you want to get something done, yeah. I mean, this is king behavior. Let's be very, very clear about that. about what it is that you're seeing. You're not seeing anything about fairness. You're not seeing anything about it being an arbitrary system at all. What you're witnessing is a madman, and he's going to continue to behave this way because there's no one who apparently has the political fortitude to stop him from what he's doing.
Wow, crazy. And so, one of the things that was said in the another thing that was said in the manifesto, it says that the assassin had rules of engagement, including using buckshots instead of slugs to reduce penetration through walls, which he claimed was to limit collateral casualties. So he talked about, I'm not trying to shoot no police, if I get into the situation, then I have to, but I'm not trying to hurt nobody that ain't supposed to be hurt, period, point blank.
I mean, for me, like I said, I just have a very difficult time with believing this, and I can't get beyond that. I don't want to talk about what they say he wrote. You get what I'm saying? I want to hear from him. And I want to, as my mother used to always say, I want to be able to look in your face. I want to be able to look into his eyes and be able to see if he looked like that brother. What was the movie? Get Out. His eyes are crossed like that. They didn't get.
Exactly. That movie, my God, it was a movie on top of a movie, without a shadow of a doubt. And our next clip we're going to watch is just a 5-minute, but it shows how they're talking about this thing overseas. And this is France TV news. Let's check this out real quick.
Let's bring in Vedika Bahel, who's over by the big board for Truth or Fake. Vedika, good evening to you. Thanks for being with us. Staying with the shooting in Washington. The social media has been ablaze with conspiracy theories that the incident was staged. Talk us through them.
That's right, Mark. Social media has been flooded with conspiracy theories about the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Multiple theories have been shared online without solid evidence from both left-wing and right-wing accounts. The most prominent of those theories is that the attack was staged. In fact, according to social media analytics tool Tweetbinder, by midday on Sunday, there was over 300,000 posts on X alone using the term staged. Now, many accounts shared that they thought Trump had fabricated this attack to divert from his poor approval ratings or distract from the war in Iran. Others theorized that Trump was trying to ramp up support for his controversial plans to build a new White House ballroom. And indeed, Trump himself referenced that ballroom in the press conference following the incident, where he talks about why it's more important than ever and how significant the construction of this ballroom is. And at the same time, multiple of his MAGA allies at the same time also repeated this claim online, taking social media to also repeat how important that ballroom is, and we really, really need it. And it is this quick coordination, in fact, that led many social media users to ask the question, is this a staged event? Now, when Donald Trump was asked by CBS News' 60 Minutes about these theories of a staging, he blasted them as sick. So let's take a listen now directly to the US president.
And October 7th didn't happen, and World War II didn't happen, and the Holocaust didn't happen, and many things didn't happen. Yeah, no, I hear it. I don't know. I think they're more sick than they are con people, but there's a lot of con in it too. I haven't heard that last night didn't happen. Usually it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Usually they wait about 2 or 3 months to start saying that.
So there you have it, Donald Trump sarcastically listing some things that he says some people don't believe, but also hitting out at those who believe that this recent shooting at the Correspondents' Dinner isn't real.
Many internet users pointing to various clips that they say prove that the shooting was orchestrated. Now, what do they mean by that?
Well, Mark, a clip of Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt from just before the dinner helped fuel speculation when she said that there would be shots fired tonight. Let's have a very quick listen to what she said on the red carpet.
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight.
Now, this is a real video. She did say this. It has not been doctored, but the context is that she was asking, she was responding to a question about the upcoming content of Donald Trump's speech, and shots fired is a common figure of speech about making jabs or barbs, which we know Donald Trump certainly makes. So certainly an unfortunate coincidence, and definitely hasn't aged well, given what has happened. There's another Fox News clip that has also adding to this cacophony. Users say online that they say it shows that the shooting was a pre-planned false flag. On Sunday, Fox News ran an interview with its White House correspondent Aisha Hasni, who was at the dinner. And while she was recounting her version of events of what had happened, she talked about how she was sitting next to Caroline Leavitt's husband, and he told her that she has to remain safe. In fact, while just as she was about to tell the audience what he told her, the call, in fact, cut out directly at that moment. And that's why users thought that this was another hint that the incident was staged. Now, she later clarified on X that the reason she lost her signal was because there was barely any service in the ballroom. She says that he was just telling me to be careful with my own safety because the world is crazy, but certainly has not helped dim any speculation. It has certainly only added to it.
Okay, now people are also pointing out that J.D. Vance, Vice President, was escorted or dragged off the stage or out of the room before the President, Donald Trump.
Well, yes, a video of Vice President J.D. Vance being yanked out of his chair and rushed to safety has gone viral, particularly, as you'll see in this video, that it takes the Secret Service about 10 to 12 more seconds to then make their way through and rush Donald Trump to safety. And internet users have latched onto this and are heavily sharing this to imply a staging. Now, this is an authentic video. J.D. Vance certainly was evacuated before Trump, but there is a likely explanation. In fact, another angle from the Correspondents' Dinner, we can see that Trump, in fact, was blocked by a Secret Service agent who came and body blocked Trump right there. So he was protected during those moments whilst J.D. Vance was being whisked out. That said, it certainly hasn't stopped conspiracy theories from circulating about this incident from the Correspondents' Dinner. And of course, Mark, questions remain about the efficiency of the Secret Service and current security measures, and how even a gunman was even able to access such a high-profile event.
During the White House Correspondents' Dinner was premeditated, according to Acting Attorney General.
All right, so that's how they're reporting it over there in France, that this whole shooting was put together, and they believe, as well as a lot of other people believe, that it wasn't real. It wasn't real. So, not only is the dollar sinking, but the image that America has is going straight into the toilet if it ain't already been there.
Oh yeah, it's a wrap. We'll never see America rise back as far as credibility goes in our lifetime. You'll never see this nation as respected as it was, previously, because you've had a madman who has totally flipped what were considered to be givens. That we would always stand with NATO, that we would, that you would always have your allies back. He's destroyed all of that trust. And it's going to be a domino effect, because now that it's in many ways, when you think about it, kind of like how Black business people are. You can have a Black business within the Black community. Black folk give it almost exclusive entree to their dollars. And then the children take over the business and they start doing things differently. And Black folks start saying, hey, wait a minute. That ain't the way it's supposed to go. That ain't the way your parents used to do it. This well, it's a new day now. It's a new day. Boom, 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 boom. So Black folks start shopping elsewhere. That's what you're going to see with the trade, because now people are looking at America and they're not going to separate it and say, well, Trump did this. They're going to say America, and they're going to come up with, and they should come up with, realistic, reliable alternatives to get the goods that their people desire and not have to rely upon America.
Wow. And those people that say that they love America so much, they're quiet as hell right by now. They're quiet. They're not out there saying anything. You would think
let's be clear. Let's be clear. The reason why so many people are getting elections wrong is because people are not going to speak when they are a part of the unpopular group, because they don't want to be shunned, they don't want to be criticized and what have you. But when it comes time to cast that vote in the secrecy and privacy of a voting booth, they're going to let you know what they really think. So I wouldn't take their silence to mean disapproval of what's going on. It's in many ways an avoidance of being judged and castigated.
Wow. The minister said that Trump will take America to hell on a rocket ship.
I mean, you're past hell. That rocket has entered into hell, passed through it, and still got some fuel in it. This ain't over.
Wow. There's some. We'll look at a video real quick of the alleged shooter giving an interview and see what he's talking about. But wow. You know, do you remember when the FBI arrested those dudes for supposedly going to kidnap the governor, I think, of Michigan?
So yeah. they were going to put her on a boat and drive her to the middle of Lake Michigan, let her starve to death.
Yeah. Now they were tried, I think, 2 or 3 times. The first time the jury said no, that they got off. Then the second time, some got lesser charges and was wound up being convicted, but they largely beat their case. And so what do you think is the process when the FBI goes to people like that, or, goes to the brother who, went in there on Trump? What could that conversation be like that would convince these people, yeah, let me go ahead and do it. This shit may work.
Emotionalism, an absence of logic, a ignorance about history, because none of this is new. We've seen this over and over and over again. And there's something also to be said for even if you didn't do anything,
right?
Because they can convict you in the court of public opinion.
Yeah,
your life will never be the same again.
Richard Jewell.
Yes,
you remember him, the dude with Atlanta?
Olympic bombing in Atlanta.
Exactly. Yep. Good Lord. Only in America.
Only.
Was Don King the real person who kept saying that? Only in America?
Only in America.
All right, let's check this out.
The last 24 hours, we've learned a lot about that alleged gunman, Cole Allen from Torrance. He is a registered voter in LA County, but he's not registered with either political party. According to his LinkedIn profile, he's a trained mechanical engineer who graduated from Caltech back in 2017. Just last year, he earned his master's in computer science from Cal State Dominguez Hills. Allen describes himself as an indie game developer, and one such game credited to him is described on its Steam page as a skill-based, non-violent fighting game. Also last year, he posted to LinkedIn that he was named Teacher of the Month at the education company where he's believed to be currently employed.
In the hours after the shooting, when authorities learned that Cole Allen lived in Torrance, they descended on his home trying to learn more. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is live in Torrance for us this evening with exclusive video you'll only see here on Eyewitness News. Rob.
Yeah, residents here stunned to find out that the D.C. shooting suspect lived right over there at his parents' home. Meantime, we're learning that right before the shooting, he sent a message to his family spelling out his plans. Cole Allen, a 31-year-old Caltech engineering graduate and college prep tutor, now in custody, accused of opening fire at the White House Correspondents Dinner. ABC News quoting sources that say Allen sent a message describing himself as, quote, a friendly federal assassin. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche saying it does appear that Allen was targeting people in the Trump administration, including the president. And an Eyewitness News exclusive, we interviewed a man who appeared to be Allen when he was a student at Caltech.
The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
We found him at an aging conference. He had designed a new way to make wheelchairs safer.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground.
That was back in 2017. Today, according to his LinkedIn profile, Allen was working for C2 Education, a private company that prepares students for college entrance exams. That profile claiming C2 actually named him its Teacher of the Month in December 2024. In a written statement, the company today saying, we were shocked to hear the news of the horrifying incident that transpired at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We are cooperating fully with law enforcement to assist them in their investigation. Violence of any kind is never the answer. Allen describes himself online as developing this video game called Boredom, what he calls an atomic fighting game. On the gaming platform Steam, one of the popular tags used to find it was Bullet Hell. Another was Shooter.
I was shocked. I didn't believe it. I thought, no, they're just saying that.
Today, Allen's Torrance neighbors are left reeling after finding out he's the man arrested in the D.C. shooting.
It's really surprising, really shocking. I'm sad for his family. You know, his parents are good people. They don't deserve this. They're school teachers, solid, like really solid members of the community.
Now, sources tell Associated Press that Allen's brother called police in Connecticut once he saw the message that his brother sent, but that call came 2 hours after the shooting. Meantime, Allen's sister told investigators that Allen bought the weapons legally in California and he kept them here at his parents' house without his parents knowing. Reporting live in Torrance, Rob Hayes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Rob Hayes, thank you. And stay with Eyewitness News for the...
Well, the news ain't got no mercy. They put his parents' house up there with showing the goddamn street number. Like, god damn. Have some mercy for the parents. They innocent. Lord have mercy.
There are more than enough people who would be willing to strike a blow against them for their side, for their side of the political argument.
Exactly. Hillary Clinton called the Trump peoples deplorable. What did you think about that when she said that?
That they're deplorable?
Yeah.
I believe that is right and exact. No, these are not good people. Come on, let's be clear and honest about that. These are people who you have on tape discussing Donald Trump as being a liar, a cheater, a thief, a con man. And yet in exchange for a government position, now he's the greatest thing that ever happened. Come on, which one is it?
Do you think that the cabinet will use the 25th Amendment against him?
No, because all of them would go down.
But isn't it when if they were to do that, then they would pick then JD would just automatically step up, right?
Yep.
And you don't think he would just leave them where they are?
No, with all the trouble and the turmoil that is going on within this administration, do you think for a second that they like each other? Do you think that he hasn't been playing one of them against the other one? One of his hallmarks is actually being able to thrive in chaos. That's when he's at his best, according to the people who know him. when he has people at each other. I mean, let's not forget the name Omarosa and what happened with her. Look at all the people who've been jettisoned out of that door. Do you think that they've been jettisoned out of that door solely because of something that Trump thought? You think Trump had original ideas about them? No, somebody else in there said, now, you know, so-and-so shouldn't have done that. Look at it, they're killing us. So given a chance to get some get back, yeah, of course. And then who knows what political favors that J.D. Vance would pay back. And then the idea of him setting himself up to be the next president. So no, he's not going to leave them there.
Do you think that JD would be a better president
than Trump?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the difference between having somebody shoot you in the head or slit your throat. You're gonna be dead with both ways. Just different damage.
Wow.
He's not a good person.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So when we're looking at these quote unquote false flags or red flags, however they want to say that these things are, you have people like Tucker Carlson who is out and he's apologizing to people for telling people that you should vote for Trump. Literally going out there and apologizing for it. Do you think that his newfound way of seeing Trump as he is and to be quote unquote, you know, speaking up for his country, you think he's real or you think he's full of shit?
Full of shit. All of them are. And they're for sale to whichever way the political winds are swinging. You could very well make an argument that what Tucker Carlson is trying to do right now is refashion himself to be more of a Republican centrist, not MAGA, because MAGA is going to be done after Trump's administration is over. So look who is right now positioned to be the darling of the next movement. There's something involved. There's some benefit to him doing this. And the truth of the matter is that no one knows what that benefit is until he unveils it. It could be money. It could be anything. It could be a political office. It could be a political. I mean, come on. We just saw Janine Pirro, a TV judge.
Right.
Pete Hegseth, leading the Department of War. Come on.
Yep.
Anything is possible in America right now. Anything. You know, there was a moment when Janet Jackson was the it girl. And everybody, oh man, you know, I wonder who's gonna get Janet, this, and that. And then she showed up with Jermaine Dupri. And every brother that you knew said, man, I had a shot.
That's wild. That's wild. Wow. What do you think the founding fathers would think of President Trump and his things that he got going on?
They would call for his extermination. They would call for his extermination without a doubt. He is representing everything that they resisted when they broke with the crown.
Wow. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
I think George Washington would have killed him himself.
Wow. And that is interesting. That is interesting.
And I don't know if you saw the that they just indicted James Comey. You know, they did? Yeah, he got indicted today for that. Remember the old photo that he sent? It was the seashells, and it said 8647. They're considering that a threat against the president's life.
Wow.
If nothing else, the man holds a grudge.
Sickening. Sickening. Very, very sickening. Do you believe that Trump has done anything good for America?
No, and I speak from a prism of evaluating people, especially leaders, first by their moral position. How are you as a leader? He's an individual that would most definitely like to win, even if it meant cheating and being a liar and being dishonest versus losing with honor. He can't do that. He doesn't have a moral compass. He presents himself as a sociopath.
Tucker Carlson, I don't know if you know this guy, but keeps bringing up the name Roy Cohn. He was the mentor for Donald Trump. And he taught Donald Trump that whenever you under attack, you never relent. You just keep firing back.
Yeah.
Never admit that you were wrong. Just keep firing back.
Yeah.
Now, those tactics only work in, what would you say, business America? Or does they work, period?
I think they work, period. Because if you're always attacking, you're never even providing room for anyone to counter with a follow-up question. You saw him do that when as soon as he heard her begin to read that quote, he went on the attack. Going on the attack. Now, most people are going to what? They're going to abandon their path that they were questioning, calibrate, and then try and approach you with something slightly different or what have you. Well, you just won that one, because we're not talking about that anymore. So remain on the attack. Always attack. Always. Even because the thing is that the goal is to win. The goal is not to correct anything. The Oakland Raiders, Al Davis, he had the great mantra of, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And when you have people who are operating out of a position where they believe that their fellow humans, especially the president of the United States, is telling the truth, that puts them at a distinct advantage, because he's able to say whatever he wants to. There's this great episode of Taxi. My dad used to watch Taxi, and we only had one TV, so we had to watch Taxi. And Mary Lou Henner is talking to Louis, Danny DeVito's character, and he has to go to court to testify about something. And Louis is going to go up there and lie. And he's clear he's going to lie. He told Mary Lou Henner, I'm going to lie. She says, Louis, you can't do that. When you go up on that stage, you have to tell the truth. He said, that ain't what it means. He says, what it means is whatever I get up there and say, you got to believe. And that's kind of his MO, that whatever he gets up there and says, you got to believe that. You got to put some credibility and some truth on it. And now, while you over there doing trying to verify some things, guess what? I got something else for you too. And you're gonna drop that thing that you were just looking at, because now you need to go look at this.
Right.
And as you start looking at this, I'm gonna double back and say, but what did you ever come up with the first one? Oh, you didn't come up with anything. And you know exactly why they didn't come up with anything. They didn't come up with anything because they didn't have time to look at it, because you put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things on them. What's going on with the Epstein case? Oh, you've been worried about Iran.
Exactly.
The market going down, the price of gas. There's a great line in Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man. The line is this: Keep that nigger boy running. And in many ways, that's what you've seen the Trump administration do to the American people. They keep them running, keep them busy, keep them thinking. That's it.
Wow. So do you think in this cover of chaos, or in this darkness of chaos, that Trump would suspend the elections that's coming up when it's time to run for president again? Do you see that as a possibility?
If there's any way that he could get away with that, yes. This is a scourge upon American democracy. And that's why when you ask the very interesting question about the founding fathers, he's everything that he's trying to destroy everything that they built. And these people do not have the courage, because their allegiance is to their own personal wealth. They don't have the courage to stand up and say, "Nuh-uh, we're not going that way." These people are less righteous and courageous than those that were surrounding Richard Nixon. You got to remember, it was the Republican Party leaders who went to Nixon and told Nixon, "It's over. You're going to have to go ahead and resign." We don't have those types of people right now, not who are going to remain within the Republican Party and do that type of bidding to save the nation. Because principally, that's what you're talking about. You're talking about saving the nation. You're talking about saving what many political scientists would refer to as the greatest experiment of any national leaders for any nation. The creation of this democratic republic, a representative democracy.
Wow. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. And if he did do that, Doc, how long do you think he would keep it? Or do you think it would ignite an American revolution, sort of say?
No, I have no hope that anything he does would cause an American revolution. For him to be taken down, it would have to almost be a small group of individuals who do it, who lead an attack team to assassinate him. If you're expecting the body politic, the masses of Americans to do anything, you're going to be disappointed.
Wow. And do you think that, because when he first got in, or the second time he got in, he did talk about a third term, and he talked about it, I would say, consistently a lot. And so that would lead me to believe that that's something really in his mind.
I'm sure it's in his mind. Without a doubt. I mean, I would not be surprised if he did not know that there was a 2-term limit. If someone mentioned to that rascal that FDR was elected 4 times, I could see it very well translating within his mind. Well, if FDR did it, I can do it. And it's taking a snippet of history, a little bit of history out of context that leads you to looking like a dumbass in public.
Exactly. Those people that's around him, and because they don't speak up and say anything that would, really kind of give him right guidance, they seem like they just let him do whatever he says.
No, he surrounded himself with people who can't give no guidance now. And they jettison those who could. Look at what Pete Hegseth has done with the military leaders. He didn't get rid of them. So do the people around him even know? I would argue no. The people around him are in many ways trying to survive.
Wow. That's ridiculous. So if that did happen and he suspended elections coming up to stay in as president, that will fundamentally alter America.
Well, I mean, the thing is that it is so unprecedented and it has never been done before.
Right.
That we don't know what it'll do.
Mm.
The scariest part is quite simply that they have succeeded with what they were talking about with Project 2025, and that is stacking the courts full of their people. And their people doesn't necessarily mean someone who is ideologically aligned with them. It's someone who will kiss the ring for him.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to get a case in front of one of them in exchange for a smooth $15 million payoff. Of course, they're going to make billions off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a deal that those people would take? Certainly. That's the scary part. Because you really don't know that this will, in many ways, knock the nation off of its rails. Nobody knows. Nobody's seen this before. You can sit up and you can pontificate all you want to, but nobody's seen this before. No one knows.
Mm. You know, you remember he was the first president that actually went to a Supreme Court hearing.
Yes.
And when I heard that, I automatically thought about The Godfather. You remember when they were having the hearings and Michael went and got the dude's brother from Italy and brought him over?
This may shock you, but I don't watch white movies. I ain't never seen The Godfather.
You never seen The Godfather? Oh my God.
No, I saw Shaft. I saw the Mac. You know, I even saw the new Shaft that had Samuel L. Jackson in it. I ain't never seen The Godfather.
Oh, wow.
I ain't never seen Cheers. None of that. Your intellectual diet that you watching on TV. No, I don't know. I ain't never seen that. I ain't never seen like Goodfellas or none of that type of stuff.
Wow.
No.
Wow, man, that's amazing right there, Doc. That is amazing.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about The Godfather and all of that. I've never seen that. I heard it's long.
Yeah, it's long. It's long and it's good. It is good.
I ain't got that kind of time to spend on the white culture, brother. I'm here trying to save us. I've never seen the Godfather.
Oh wow. Well, in there in the scene I'm talking about, they one of the gangster people was going to snitch on everybody else. So Michael said, "Go get his brother. Bring his brother over from Italy." Brought his brother over, brought him to the hearing. And next thing you know, when he looked and he saw his brother sitting next to Michael, he had a change of heart. You know, didn't you say the Corleone family was running drugs, this and this? Corleone family, I don't know nothing about no Corleone family. I don't know what you're talking about. It's totally flipped the script. And so when he went to the Supreme Court, it was like a muscle move, like a strongman move. I put you there.
Without a doubt.
You know, I do remember who you owe. I put
who you are beholden to.
Right. You know, some call it a new religion. Trump is a new religion for some white folks.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, well, you know, I wouldn't say that he is the center of their religion. This religion has been going on for a long time. They have always worshipped graven images, and the foremost of these graven images is actually whiteness. And anybody that is associated with whiteness, you know, I mean, think about it logically. Now they even took you know, Jesus out of Egypt,
right,
and painted him white.
Sure did.
That's where their allegiance is, because they understand, and I would argue it's even at a cellular level, they understand this principle of collectivism and survival. You know, you see a lot of white kids when they're in their teenage years, they become kind of enamored with black culture,
Right.
enamored with social movements and social activities, and they're going to fight against injustice, and they're doing all of it. Well, this lasts until they're about 30, 35, because it's at that time that their parents are retiring, and they're gonna possibly inherit money or a business.
Mhm.
And the decisions that you're going to make as a business owner is going to be markedly different than you would have made as a rabble-rousing social activist. Because now you're not going to agitate for what? Social services. Now you're agitating for fiscal responsibility, so you can keep more of that money in your pocket. The situation changes, but what never changes is their commitment and their adoration, their idolizing of the concept of whiteness.
Mm. The concept of whiteness, there's no what is because you said that in order to fight the enemy, you have to match them. If they have an institution, you have.
Your sound is going out. I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so you taught us that in order to fight them, you got to have something to match. If they got an institution, you got to have an institution. They got TV, you got to have a TV. They manufacture consent, you got to manufacture consent. They have whiteness that they can all rally around whiteness. All black folk ain't rallying around blackness.
Very true, because the truth of the matter is that you've not been taught to. It's the reason why now you have in every public arena black women taking black men to task for 100 different reasons, and 99 of them ain't even legitimate. Okay, it's the reason why when I walk on an HBCU campus, I can count on 95% of the black people of all ages that I pass not acknowledging me. They walk right by you. So the concept of blackness for them is almost a crisis button that they can hit when there's a racial incident. And then we're supposed to come together magically like Voltron and fight together. White folks' concept of whiteness, and I'm speaking in general, by and large, their concept of whiteness never ends. They're white even when there is no crisis. And that's something that we definitely need to be able to deal with.
Wow. You know, Richard Nixon was a crook as far as it came to Watergate.
He said I'm not a crook.
Which one, him or Trump, more of a crook?
Trump. Without a doubt. It's not even a question. You have to go far into the criminal mind and into the world of psychopaths to find someone that's like this rascal. Someone who lies all day, every day on camera about things that he knows himself are verifiable. You can go check this out. And he will still lie about it. He will lie about something he said at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it ain't even noon yet. There's something wrong there. And what I would say it is quite simply, you're looking at what happens to a child who has never faced consequences for dishonesty. If he said that a doorman did something to him, looked at him the wrong way, that doorman is removed, even if he was lying. So there are no consequences for him. And that has been probably one of the foremost consistencies in his life.
Wow.
So what do you do with a child who has lied his entire life and has never been punished for it?
So then, really, is it his fault? Because society or his parents, somebody taught him to be that way.
Is it someone who raped a child's fault? Because someone in his past raped him? There comes a moment. There comes a moment where you have to have personal responsibility for what occurred. You can't continue to sweep it under the rug, especially when your actions are harming other people. And his actions are killing other people and threatening to kill tens of thousands of people. And the fact that he doesn't know why he's doing this beyond trying to create a chaos and diversion surrounding the Epstein files.
So you think he really would destroy Iran, like he say, wipe it off the planet Earth, wipe it off the map, that there will be no more?
No. He's not going to do that because he has. He's very aware of the court of public opinion. Let's be clear about that. He wants to be liked. But he's unlikable. But he wants to be liked. When I say killing tens of thousands of people, I'm talking about American troops. By sending them there, quote unquote operations and things like that. Yeah, these nameless, anonymous soldiers who he cares nothing about. Keep in mind what he said about John McCain. He said John McCain was a loser because he got captured. I like people who don't get captured.
He sure did say, and he stood on that, boy. He would not take it back.
But if you're of the position that I'm gonna that's the right way, I'm going to support. As he put it, he could murder somebody on Fifth Avenue, and then people will still support him. He knows that, and it's been proven. And that's why any talk about him not being able to win another election, I don't buy it. Because you don't have access to the echo chambers that those people are talking. And that's why I don't trust the Tucker Carlson thing. You say anything in public. What about private? The truth of the matter is that what they're going to do and what they have done has been very, 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 very covert and secretive. How many years in a row have we had this situation where all of the polling data is wrong?
Exactly. So, last comparison: George Bush.
Which one?
The son.
W. Okay.
Yep. Which one has done the most harm to America?
W or Trump?
Yep.
Trump.
Even over the Iraq War, all them people Bush got killed.
Think about it. Iraq and Iran. That's kind of a wash. W didn't leave us in a situation where we were allyless. That's why I pointed to him. The fact that there were alliances to be destroyed by Trump lets you know that W didn't destroy him. That he really, although their contribution may have been minuscule and minor, he didn't go alone. Okay, he had somewhat of a international coalition behind him. This fool right here, he went in there with Israel, and that was it.
And with all this rah-rah talk to China and Russia,
Let's
Your
talk.
thoughts?
Let's talk. Let's talk. You can get up and tell the American people anything. No one knows what they're talking about. Nobody knows what's going on. One thing that is kind of taken for granted, that can be taken for granted, is quite simply, he ain't talking shit to them. I mean, when you have a people who flat out said to you, okay, come on, we're waiting. And you come out and say, well, we're going to give them another 72 hours. Give them another week to get their mind straight. That's like Tina Turner telling Ike, you got a week to get your attitude right. And at the end of that week, Ike standing there with his hand up like this. Like, I'm going to give you another extension, Ike.
Exactly.
And the truth of the matter is, and the hardest part of all of it is that he's such a habitual liar that you can't trust anything that's coming out of his mouth or anybody associated with him. And that's the most dangerous thing, because quite simply, he could get some of his quote unquote followers to agree to drop a bomb on those people. And what would they say? Well, did you want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? I know you are, but what am I? There's no analysis there. There's no in-depthness. There's no political savvy. There's no art of the deal at that moment. This is people who have been mesmerized. They've been razzle-dazzled. They're in a cult that they can't escape from. And just like cult members end up with their pockets looking like rabbit ears, that's what he's done to MAGA. And unfortunately, the average American is standing in that same boat. I wouldn't have a problem whatsoever if we went ahead and said, well, anything that the president that I didn't vote for does that's positive, I don't get the benefit from it. But anything that's negative, y'all got to carry the weight on that. I'd take that deal.
Wow. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and move to closing comments. I'm still, that one, boy, that's still, but you're right, because I thought Bush was the most corrupt president in all the people he got killed. But you're right, America did have.
You're just evaluating him upon deaths.
Yeah.
And in that, just consider that this fool would go into Iran if he could. Okay, Pete Hegseth, they would go in there, because for Pete Hegseth, this is in many ways a human form of Call of Duty. He wants to be sitting up in some type of command center, okay, acting like he's sending his troops here and there. These are people who are dying. It's a Call of Duty game for him. Okay, so I would consider those two things a wash. But nobody has ever scorched the earth, every alliance, every relationship like this fool has. He pissed Canada off. I mean, that's like pissing the Pope off. Canadians don't even lock their doors, and you piss them off? Come on.
Exactly. Wow. All right, we are at our time. We're going to go ahead and move to closing comments. If you could have a conversation with Trump yourself, Doc, what would you tell him? Add that to your closing comments.
What would I tell him? I would tell him to go ahead and step down, because the only thing that there's nothing that can be redeemed anymore. The history books are going to lambaste you and destroy you. You're on the physical decline. You're definitely on a mental decline. Whatever time you got left, be selfish. Be selfish all the way to the end. It's selfish to the point where you go ahead and you just go ahead and claim, like Maxine Waters, you reclaim your time and take your ass somewhere where they got little girls that, you know, that like to frolic around, and you can go there and you can have a very good time. It's over. You didn't have a point, so you therefore didn't prove a point. But the damage has been done, and there is something to be said for having mercy upon the world and to stop now. Unfortunately, I don't believe that you had that within you to be able to stop, and that would be my entire message.
Wow. Excellent. Anything else you'd like to add, Doc, before we go?
Nothing at all, man. Just glad to be here, man. Just glad to be here, brother.
Definitely. You know, I think that his cabinet, those members around him, they need to begin to start to do the right thing. You know, think about, what are you leaving? What kind of condition will you leave this country in? And think about the Americans that's supposed to come behind.
Well, but I think that every one of them has either a gun or a knife hidden, and they're going to take each other out, because what they're aiming for is to be the next president of the United States.
Wow. Ain't gonna happen. All right, everybody. We thank everybody for coming in and joining. We thank Earth Angel 1105 Remix. Peace and blessings, Queen. We're glad you made it. Emerald Jules, peace and blessings, Queen. We're glad you made it. And everybody who watched and was just chilling out, maybe you didn't make a comment, but please like, share, and subscribe. As we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first, today, tomorrow, and forever. Love y'all, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
Peace.
So you better get the message and get it straight. You're going to need some bridge work. It's simple as that. Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.